Hello, hi, and what is up, all of you oddventurists? Today, we are bringing the outdoors indoors. Where I'm at here, above the ice belt, it hasn't been warmer than -8. Winds are calm, that's nice. But I personally am not going to go out when it's -8, feels like -25. I know there are many others of you that it's even worse for. And if you want to go out in that, if you got a nice permanent shack, or if you can handle that kind of weather, awesome, good for you. So instead, today, I figured I would do a little gear walkthrough. There's some stuff off camera I'll bring on that you can't see. But without further ado, let's get after it. So when it comes to ice fishing, I guess two things you should always have that I don't have with me here is one, a spud bar, and two, your ice picks. So you always want to know and test the thickness of the ice before you just go walking out there. You don't want to go all willy-nilly, especially really early season or really late season. I see a lot of videos, some guys are early ice and they're on like 8 to 10 inches driving out there. I'm talking early ice as in 2 to 3 inches, maybe even 4. I'll bring it out on, especially if it's a new body of water. I want to be sure that where I'm taking my next step, I won't get wet. With that are the ice picks. So if you do get wet, well, you'll be able to pull yourself back up. You don't want to get stranded under the water and not have any means to get out. So, safety tools aside, the number one thing that you need for ice fishing is some sort of auger. You can't go ice fishing if you don't have a hole in the ice. So what I like to use, and I've had this guy forever, she's about as old as dirt, is the lithium Strike Master. And this is just a 24 volt with the plastic flighting. Again, I've had this thing for like 6 years. Most of the time, it just sits in the bottom of the shed and of the sled. And I've never had one issue with any of that plastic flighting breaking. I know when I worked in retail and I sold them, guys would ask that question all the time. I was skeptical myself. But these plastic flightings make it super light, super easy to carry if you're on a school of crappie or perch and they're moving and you need to jump in front of them. I'd recommend a lithium batteried auger or a K-drill with these plastic flightings. 10 pounds lighter, don't have to carry any gas or mixed oil or nothing, and they work lickety split. Now, great, you got a hole in the ice. What do you need next? You don't need them, but I like them, rods and reels. You need something to make that presentation look realistic. And I'm pretty messy and pretty sloppy with how I pack my sled, so I kind of just throw everything in there, and I don't want anything to break. So I keep them in this nice, I think it's a 42-inch rod locker by Shields. Nice and thick. I can hold 6 rods in it without having to fold up any handles or worrying about watching tips get broken when I open it up. Go on, buddy. Thank you. Thanks. So, a couple of different presentations that I have, and I always have one of these tied on. In this case, I have 2 right now, is a little jig and a plastic. This is on a 13 fishing snitch, and I don't even know what kind of reel that is. But this rod tip, super light, bends super well. And I try and get a jig that's just heavy enough to make it bend a little bit, so that way it's easier to see when a fish taps it or a crappie does a negative bite and lifts it up. So I always have 2 jigs and plastics, easy enough to take the plastic on and put a wax worm on if they want live bait. Another 2 that I've really started to love this season, this little micro rattle bait with a 13 fishing free fall and a tuned up custom rod bullwhip. Tucker. This is a really good all species rod. the rod tip bends super light and flexible. Yeah, there we go. But the backbone is there as well. So while that front is doubled over, the backbone is still stiff. So if a pike rolls through or a walleye's on the bottom and you drop down to it, I trust this with my life. For setting the hook and being able to fight it without losing that tension between the line and the fish. Next is a slightly bigger lipless, but this is on the Jason Mitchell Dead Meat 36-inch medium. Again, oh, and a Samar bait feeder reel by Okuma. Really nice reels. Honestly, best reel I think I've ever had. And same as the other one, same as the tuned up. Nice flexible tip, super solid backbone. So you can feel those crappie and bluegill nibble on it or do that negative bite. But at the same time, if there's a walleye or bigger perch or northern, you'll still be able to drive the hook home in the roof of that fish's mouth. Let's see. I guess those are the basic ones I got. I have a whiteout that is way too stiff for the type of fishing I like to do, but I use that as my dead stick, since all I need to do is watch a bobber go down. I guess I have this tickle stick. Again, 13 Fishing with their free fall reel. That has a little tungsten spoon on it, little silver flasher. This would have been a great panfish rod, but early this winter a buddy of mine broke the tip off it. So it went from an ultralight to about a stiffer light to medium light. So that's why I went with a heavier presentation to still make the rod useful. You don't just have to throw it away or get a new one every time, but there are some times in some rods where it is inevitable, if it snaps, you will have to get a new one. Now with those rods, a lot of the line I use, since I do like pan fishing, is only 3 to 4 pound test. The dead stick rod, being a little stiffer for potentially a little bit bigger fish, is 6 pound, but when I'm ice fishing, I would never go higher than 6 pound. Now, there's some other things on the table. I have no good way of storing these yet, but all the plastics. Small ones in one bag, bigger ones in the other bag. And these are also great open water panfish season. Spring, summer, fall. If you're on a school of crappie or bluegill, they will bite these plastics all the same. The lake that I was renting on this summer, I caught walleye, northern, bluegill, crappie, drum, channel catfish, all with these small jigs and panfish plastics. I don't have all the gear with me. Like I said, I use some of it in the open water season, so some of it is in the boat, but I do have backups of all my favorites. This way it's just easy to get at them if I need them. So it's not in a big kit all tangled together. They're pretty separated out. Some of the styles of plastic that I like the best, I'm not partial to one brand over another, but here are a few of my favorites. I started with these white minnows, and from there it just grew. They just work so well. And if you don't have to rely on always having live bait or always having to get your hands cold to switch bait if it's cold outside and you're messing with it all the time, plastics are a great way. Some of those in the last, I didn't make a video on it, but I caught 28 crappie on 2 or 3 plastics is all. It held them lights out, and the robustness of it was amazing. Another thing I love to have on me, a good pair of scissors. Sometimes pliers, that little cutter part on them doesn't work too well. So I have a nice pair of line cutting scissors designed for braid, keep them in the boat as well. That way, I'm a big bass fisherman in the summer. So I use that 20, 30, 40 pound braided line, And these 6-cent little scissors snip them just fine. So that was kind of some of the lures for the rods. Now, I have another box, a little more aggressive lures. Oh, Lord. A little bit bigger, but primarily, this is my tip-up box. So if I have a tip-up and a pike or something bites it off, I have everything I need to change it, or the dead stick. Sometimes I will put a bigger spoon on the tip-up too, something like one of these. That way when the minnow's thrashing down there, there's more shimmer and shine from the spoons. Get some extra attention. With that, I do have the, I want to say they're 10-inch, the insulated orange Fraybill tip-ups. Just a little flag system that goes up when the line starts spooling out. And where I'm at, I'm allowed to have 4 lines in the water per license. So I myself can have 4, which is usually a jig, a dead stick, and 2 tip-ups. I always bring extra tip-ups in case I don't want to have a dead stick, or I got a buddy that comes out and joins me and we can have those extra lines in the water. But you got your hole drilled, you got your line in the water, whichever way you like to target them is great, awesome. I'm not impartial to one way or the another, and if you have any great suggestions, I'm open to trying new stuff. So my tackle collection is never complete, and it never will get complete, but it's always looking for new additions. Now that we're in the water, line's in the water, line is wet, and we got our gear set up, the next thing I use that you don't need to use is a sonar. The first one I started with is a little Humminbird Helix 5. First, name sonar I had in my boat. Great, worked well. I got it so I could use it open water and ice fishing. Easy to take on and off either system. And super lightweight and portable. Now, I have the Humminbird still, but I am one of those guys. I also have the LiveScope by Garmin. This is a lot heavier, a lot more cumbersome, but it takes a lot of the guesswork out of fishing. A lot of people say it's cheating, and I will partially agree, because especially ice fishing, one hole, 100 feet, 150 feet, so circle, 130-foot radius, or 300-foot radius. That's sitting at the 50-yard line of a football field and scanning one end zone and the other. So theoretically, in 2 holes, you could have 200 yards of water either taken out of the equation or be able to pinpoint where they're at within that location. So I can see how LiveScope has hurt fisheries. However, I am not above it. I have nothing against it. It just comes down to practicing safe harvest on top of knowing where the fish are. You don't need to keep your limit every time. You don't need to keep all the big ones, but you can still have fun going out, finding them, and catching them. Now, with the sonars, we need something to power them. Both of my batteries are Amped Outdoors lithium. This 30 amp hour in the LiveScope will hold for about a day and a half, 2 days, and I'm not too worried about it. In the summer, I've gone 2 full days without charging it. In the winter, days are a lot shorter, so I'm only out for 8 to 11 hours instead of 10 to 14. But these amped batteries are the cat's pajamas. They are the coolest of the cool. I've had this one for just about as long as I've had the LiveScope, which is about 5 or 6 years now. That is within the first 2 years it came out, the LVS 32. I know they've been updated since then, and they got all the fancier poles in this, but all you got to do is figure out how to use it. It works just as great as it did on day one. I got a little 12 amp hour for my hole hopping shuttle. So if I drill one, find them with the LiveScope, then I'll pick this one up, go and set it on them. It's a lot more portable, like I was saying. And this sonar could probably run for 3 or 4 days on this 12 amp battery. There's been multiple occasions where I'm like, ooh, I don't know if that one's charged. Don't have to worry about it. Another thing that's underrated, ski/snowboard goggles. These are Anons? Sure, I don't know. But if the wind is whipping or you're on a snowmobile or four-wheeler going from spot to spot, the snow's getting kicked up, they have that little foam guard there so it's not getting in your eyes aren't watering, snow isn't blinding you, and then you can just cut through and see a lot better in worse conditions. Snow goggles are pretty underrated. So now you got your hole, you got your rod and line in the water, you got your sonar in, and that's great. One thing I always fish with, 5-gallon pail. Something to sit on, something to hold your fish. But I also have a couple of shacks. So out in the garage, I have a clam sled and an otter hub. The otter hub is new to me this winter, and I have honestly loved the space of it. It's so much easier to fish 2 or 3 people in that hub style shack than to fish 3 people in the sled style shack. I do like the convenience of the sled and everything is right there. However, getting another sled just for the hub shack really isn't that bad. Everything fits in the sled just fine. I believe I got a medium one with high walls. That's the kicker. Unfortunately, just regular sleds are an arm and a leg for a piece of plastic. But the one with the high walls holds the gear the best. I don't have to ratchet strap it down or use any bungee cords. It all fits on there just fine. And yeah, they are insulated. That's pretty big around here. Especially it helps block the wind better, keeps the heat in, and just a super nice convenience to have. So now let's go through the list again. We got the auger. We drilled the hole. The rods and lines are in the water. Sonar is telling us where fish are or marking that we're on top of them. And now we're sitting on a bucket or inside the shack. One of the last pieces of equipment that I like and it really makes it more enjoyable if you're trying to get someone else into ice fishing or if you are trying to get into it yourself, something to keep you warm. This is a Buddy heater. It's only just a single burner, runs off 1-pound propane tanks, or if you're going to be out for a couple days or ice camping is getting really popular, they make hoses that can connect this heater to a 20-pound, 5-pound propane tank, whatever it is you're bringing out. And yeah, when it's -5 outside, but 55 to 60 inside the shack, it makes a big difference in being able to enjoy it. So that's most of the gear that I am impartial to, that I personally enjoy. There are different styles of gloves. I like the mitten style that you can flip up and then your fingers are available, easier for tying knots so you don't have to take the whole glove off, easier for switching baits. I have a pair of cotton fingerless gloves for warmer weather. That way it kind of keeps my hand warm as it gets wet from grabbing the fish. I have a pair of heated gloves for when it is colder and you're just driving around or walking on the lake looking to get to a spot. I do just a stocking cap. Any old stocking cap will do. I have a neck gaiter. Mine's one of the Sitka ones. It's really nice, keeps me really warm. And then I will wear a base layer. That is the Shields branded, whatever they do. And then sweatpants and a pair of jeans if it's going to be really cold. Otherwise, just a pair of sweatpants. And then I will wear either that base layer shirt or a nice light breathable shirt, then a sweatshirt. And if it's going to be super cold again, I will wear my vest or some sort of just regular vest. And then I do Ice Armor by Clam bibs and jacket. You can, Strike Master makes great bibs and jackets. There are a bunch of companies out there that do. I've worn my ski pants, my ski snow pants before. They keep me plenty warm. The biggest thing when you're looking for a pair of bibs and a jacket nowadays, I would say get something that floats. Mine float, so if I go through the water or through the ice into the water, either just the bibs or just the jacket will keep me afloat, but both add that extra buoyancy. And that's not only is it going to keep you from going through the bottom of the ice, but it's going to keep you on top and make it easier for you to get flat so you can crawl out if you were to fall. These are just some of the things that I take with me on just about every trip. I'd travel light earlier, later in the season, but now that the season's in full swing and we got ice castles and half tons and 3/4 tons driving out there, I take it all. I'd rather have it and not need it than not have it when you need it this time of year. Don't forget snacks and water or whatever it is you prefer to drink. I will keep a thermos with coffee or hot chocolate, depending on your audience. So if you're bringing kids out with you, great, awesome. Love seeing kids getting into the outdoors. They are the future for the outdoors to keep being outdoors. And keep it warm for them. Hot chocolate for them. Make it enjoyable. Don't be afraid. I don't have one. Buy a little table. They make little tables. Play card games. Ice fishing can be enjoyable for everyone, even if you're not catching fish. But thanks for tuning in to this installment of the Odd Ventures. Hopefully in the next one we will see you out on the ice. Like, subscribe, whatever, share, comment, throw the hate my way, throw the shade, throw the good stuff. I'm here for it. I'm not going anywhere. This is me and this is what I enjoy doing. Until then, see you on the next one.